What are the 5 top business strategies that I've implemented into my business to help me grow significantly over the last 2 years? Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you those top 5 strategies, plus 3 of the best passive income streams that have been working really well for me. Now, my name's Romney. If you haven't been to my channel before, welcome. Now, this is quite different to what I normally talk about on my channel, but I thought it would be a great opportunity and a good insight into seeing how my business has been evolving. So let's get into things right now. What I wanted to talk about was how I've made some decisions within my business to grow the revenue that comes in, hopefully as automatically and as passively as I can. Now, I've made some conscious business decisions. I previously was a school teacher, then I went and worked in the corporate area for quite a few years. What I ended up getting a little bit sick and tired of was having a lot of emails come through, a lot of phone calls come through, so much travel that was involved. And therefore, when I started my business, I wanted the opportunity that if I wanted to travel, if I wanted to go away for 2 or 3 weeks, that things would continue to tick along. Now, obviously that comes with some sacrifices as well, and that could be a sacrifice regarding the amount of income you get if you're not prepared to build a huge team of staff. Now, one of the strategies that I've got in place as part of my passive income is to try and build a business that doesn't rely on having staff, that you can actually outsource staff and then just work solo. So that's one of the key strategies that I'll be discussing in this lesson. So anyway, let's go on to the presentation and I'll expand on a few more of these strategies as we go along. So before we start, it's probably a good idea to give you a quick business background. So I started my business back in 2019 and the initial focus was on book publishing on Amazon KDP. Current progress, well, it's now a 6-figure annual business and growing really well. So I'm wrapped with how the business has continued to evolve over the period of 3 years. Employees-wise, I still continue to operate as a solo entrepreneur, but I do outsource tasks if required. But I'll expand on that a little bit more during the presentation. So let's have a quick look at my 5 overarching business model and passive income strategies. And we'll go through each of these in a bit more detail, but quickly, it must have a long tail. I'll expand on what that means in a moment. Passive with as little upkeep as possible. Unlimited growth potential. Solo driven, but outsourcing optional. And reach a global audience. So let's look at the number 1 rule for my passive income strategies. So it must have a long tail. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I create or publish, then that information or that content will continue to create an income stream for years to come. Just think of it like a jetliner in the sky. You'll see the plane in the sky with the jet stream behind it. And you can see that long tail as it disappears towards the horizon. But on the very far tip, you'll see it start to evaporate a little bit. Well, that's how I want my business to operate. I want it to have that long, ongoing tail where a piece of content or a course or a book can continue to sell for years to come. Rule number 2, passive with as little upkeep as possible. So what I create or publish comes with as little upkeep or maintenance, and the ultimate is automation. When I created my business, I wanted the opportunity to be able to travel or to head away for 2 or 3 weeks and for the income to continue to come in. I remember when I was a school teacher and I would earn my, say, $50,000 and then that was it. But if you own your own business sometimes, and you might be a plumber, if you don't turn up to work, then you don't get paid. But I wanted to create a business that continued to pay me if I was away for a period of time. Number 3, unlimited growth potential. So I wanted to create or publish, what I create or publish has the capacity to grow with no limits. I didn't want any ceiling. Again, I wanted the chance for content and for what I created in the business to have that growth potential that had no cap. If I worked more hours or I created a great product or a great system then I wanted that growth to be endless. Number 4, solo driven but outsourcing optional. So I can grow without the need for employees but can outsource jobs as required. So if I'm creating a children's picture storybook, I can outsource my illustrator or outsource the illustrations via an illustrator, and I can use platforms like Fiverr or Upwork to complete that work. And I don't need to pay them an ongoing salary or any entitlements. And if they're on leave and sick leave, I don't need to worry about any of that. Yes, it might restrict me potentially with the speed at which I grow, but I'm comfortable with that. And I like to have a business that I can outsource more. But the way I look at it is I use some of the biggest platforms in the world, like udemy.com, to host my courses. In a way, I consider all those employees that are with Udemy my own employees. They're doing all the work behind the scenes to make my courses available to the global audience. I'm not employing them directly, but when I do receive my royalty, it might be a 50% or a 70% break, and therefore I'm happy to give up a percentage for them to look after all the payments and processing and any refunds and things like that. And rule number 5, I wanted to reach a global audience with what I create. So the platforms I use have global reach. If you think of YouTube, global reach, Amazon, global reach, you've got Ingram Spark, global reach, Draft2Digital, global reach, Udemy, global reach, Skillshare, global reach. All of them have reach far bigger than I'd ever be able to do myself. So, or by myself if I was doing that as solo. So I consider my business as individual and solo, but with the assistance of these big platforms across the world. So my current income streams is approximately 8 at the moment. It might even be a few more. But what I want to do is continue to build these revenue streams. Think of it like a leaking bucket. If I just had the one bucket and I was filling up a bath, then if I plugged up that hole, the water would stop and things would just dry out. But consider I've got 8 buckets that are leaking at one time. If one bucket happened to stop leaking, then I've still got another 7 that will continue to leak and continue to provide my income streams across the week, the month, or the year. So I've got my income streams. Now let's look at what 3 of my top income streams for passive income would be. But firstly, what I've found currently to be the best passive income streams with unlimited potential would be self-publishing. So through platforms like Amazon KDP, Ingram Spark, and Draft2Digital. When you create your books, you can put them onto these platforms. You do have to do a little bit of marketing with with Amazon KDP. Ingram Spark, I actually don't do any advertising at all. The same with Draft2Digital, but they continue to provide a revenue stream week in, week out over the whole year, and it's been incredible. With Amazon, it is a bit more of a competitive marketplace. You do have to advertise, so there's a little bit of work that goes into it, but once you do get into the algorithm of Amazon, you do start to generate a great passive income stream. So self-publishing would be my number 1 at the moment. Number 2, online courses. So I started creating courses about 18 months ago, and now I have over 20,000 students across these platforms. It, again, is a great passive income stream with just a little bit of work, being that you've got to answer student questions if they come through. Now, I need to point out that it takes a fair bit of work to create some of these income streams to begin with, but then they become passive. It's not easy to create a course, but once you've created it, you've done the front end work, then you generate the income over the long term. It's the same with the books. Create the books, do all the hard work at the front end, and then you benefit over the long term. So I've got my course on Skillshare, Udemy, and I've even got subscriptions or membership students that want to go through or use my courses. So for $29 a month, students get to access all of my courses or 7 of my courses, and I get a consistent revenue stream through that. And finally, affiliates. Affiliates is probably if I consider the least amount of work, would be affiliates, where I would endorse a software program, for example, BookBolt, and I only ever endorse affiliate groups that I use myself and that I have comfort in standing behind their integrity and the way that they're used. So if I'm an affiliate of BookBolt and someone uses my link and they purchase BookBolt, then BookBolt will give me, I think it's $2 for every month that person will stay on that platform or use that software. With Publisher Rocket, they've got like a one-off payment which a customer purchases their software, and I'll receive a small one-off commission that will come through for purchasing Publisher Rocket. So affiliates, I'd love to probably grow a bit more, particularly those affiliates where you've got an ongoing revenue stream, not just a one-off payment. So what else helps drive traffic for my passive income streams? Well, definitely YouTube, because you can grow your audience and you can include links in the description, and I can create content around that where students can download documents. Therefore, I also use ConvertKit to gather email addresses, and then I can send out broadcasts or emails to my existing audience that are following, and you can tag particular students so that you know what their interests are. So if I had a course about Amazon publishing, then those students that have been interested in that area, I can target those students to receive that communication. So that's the main information with that. So I look at YouTube, can direct traffic towards my books, my courses, and my affiliates, and then I link that all together with ConvertKit. So that's, in a nutshell, my top 5 passive income strategies for my business, but also what is working to generate the passive income. Again, I'll point out very clearly that passive income, you do have to do some front-end work. I might need to create documents that help people to publish, but within those documents, there might be links that help me to generate a passive income stream through affiliates, or they might be linked up towards my courses. They might buy one, they might love that course, and then buy another course. It's all linked together. It does take time to build that engine, but I'm comfortable that over time, that snowball effect will get bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill, and I'll continue to benefit from that over the long term. So I hope that gives you a great overview of what I'm doing and the passive income strategies I implement for my business. So I really hope that you're able to learn some of the strategies that I've been implementing and maybe even implement them into your own business. Now, if you've liked this video, then please let me know. I'm thinking about developing some further content around passive income strategies. Then by you giving me feedback, that will actually let me know whether this is something that you're more interested in me expanding into. So thank you so much for watching. Please give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you've liked this video, and I look forward to sharing more information with you into the future. Until then, goodbye.